Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome back to round 16 of season 2 of our F1 Championship Edition career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the Chinese Grand Prix. This has been the race throughout the last kind of 5 or 6 that I've been hyping up as our best chance pretty much all year of trying to score points inside this series. If you missed out on the last video that went live from Monza a few days ago, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. At the top of the championship, things now started to look very good for Michael Schumacher. Fernando Alonso had a mechanical failure, so it's given the German a 12-point lead at the top of the table after Felipe Massa was able to win in front of the Tifosi last weekend. We had a decent race though. We've moved up into P20 overall in the Drivers' World Championship, so it does mean we are now the best of the Midland Formula 1 drivers there. But annoyingly, Jacques Villeneuve scored a point, so if ever I needed more motivation to try and get a couple on the board before the end of the year, there have been a few other little interesting bits and pieces going on as well. We have been re-promoted now to the #1 driver as well down at Midland, so quite happy with that. But it hasn't stopped me trying to send off my applications elsewhere. Red Bull turned around and went, no, but we have also sent out an application over to Williams, so maybe a big result this weekend could try and swing their perception of us as well. Only time will tell. Get yourself subscribed. We are mighty close to 6,000 subs as well on the channel. But yeah, let's do this thing.
Welcome to the Shanghai circuit in the far east of China. Qualifying is about to begin, and as always, we'll be here for the duration to see who earns that coveted pole position.
Really don't want to leave anything to chance this weekend as we head out into qualifying. I'm hoping we just make it through Q1 without any issues and then kind of see what the pace is like out in Q2. We did end up just inside the top 10 at the end of free practice, but as I've said before, the way this car handles can be a little bit weird. Sometimes it's got way more straight line speed in practice than it does in qualifying, despite the fact I don't change anything on the setup. So we're aiming for kind of 135s in Q1. Well, I'm recording this video on Friday afternoon here in the UK, so obviously Lewis Hamilton has taken pole for the IRL Chinese Grand Prix this morning, so I don't know whether this video is going to go live on Saturday or Sunday just yet, but let me know kind of how the weekend's been so far. It'll be definitely going up after the sprint race, which, you know, being a Lewis Hamilton fan, I'm hoping he can try and claim victory. His first ever sprint win, which would be absolutely insane as well. But anyway, we've got a qualifying lap to get on with. It's a car there making their way out of the pit lane. That seems to be one of the Renaults, as one of the Toro Rossos as well, trying to get on a lap. And we're going to get blocked just a little bit. Should be able to get under the Toro Rosso on the exit of those first couple of corners. Then the Renault will hopefully let us by-ish. Well, as far as I've gathered on this game, as long as you don't lose the front wing, it doesn't actually cost you any time around a lap. So, yeah, this isn't going to make any difference, the fact that that front wing is slightly damaged. I think it does obviously make it easier if there's more contact for the wing to come off. So, hopefully we're not going to have to deal with that. We've got a nice clean run in front of us. Just one of the Super Agurus making their way in towards that final corner. Slam of the anchors though. We are definitely down on straight line speed to what we had in free practice. There you go. Well, hopefully we're going to go comfortably quicker than that then as we make our way out of the final corner. Not been a fantastic first lap. In fact, we only do a third. We do the same time as Liuzzi. That's quite impressive. I want to know how it's possible that now I've moved into qualifying, I'm suddenly 20 miles an hour slower in a straight line than when I was in free practice. I didn't have a slipstream or anything like that, so it is very weird there as what is that Super Aguri doing at the final corner? Gonna try and almost squeeze me as well. We will run a 36.6 though. That puts us 10th and hopefully safely through. There we go then. Looks like Scott Speed really struggling to get a lap together there. Slowest of anybody on the board. Christian Albers, of course, now back in the sport again because Montero, because I'm #1 driver, has been dropped. It works in a very weird way. But yeah, Coulthard as well, also out in Q1. A 36.6 though is not a great representative by me. So we go again in Q2. I'll try to make my intentions very clear then as we head back out into the circuit into Q2. We are going to be the first car onto a run here, so really just want to try and get a lap time up on the board. Although lines like that through the final corner don't do us any favours. Luckily, it's not a long run into turn 1, so we can try and still get a representative. So far then, this first lap, nothing really again to write home about, but hopefully will be better than our 136.6 that we set in Q1. I feel like I am slowly kind of building up the confidence again. Like I said, I came out in free practice and immediately got up to speed pretty well. So that's pretty much about as much curb as you'd ever want to take through that final corner. Again, look at that, 37.2 opening lap. We just, need to really kind of get up to pace. 6/10 improvement, then 7/10 improvement, I should say, through Sector 1 there. I always forget as well, of course, the early years of the Chinese Grand Prix, the sector splits were in completely different spots to where they are now. I keep looking at like random parts of the lap, trying to get an idea of the time we've set, and of course, being completely out, as Villeneuve there only on a 37.1, so hopefully we're going to be able to try and go quicker than him. Way too hesitant though, to try and make our way out into the back straight, and I think any time we found in Sector 1, we might just start to lose again. Somehow still another 10th up there, despite a pretty sloppy middle sector. So hopefully we're going to be able to dip into the 35s. Schumacher now into the 34s. We'll have to wait and see what we can do then. Yep, there's a lot of cars out on a lap. We gather it, James Allen. So again, nice line on the entry. Oh, a bit of a wobble on the exit of the final corner. That might cost us a little bit on the run towards the line. 36.4 puts us back inside the top 10. Come on, we were a 10.5 up in Sector 1, but this BMW, I think it might be Jacques Villeneuve here, is really holding us up. So I don't want to be fighting with you, Jacques. What are you doing, man? Why squeeze me out over the curbs like that? As maybe we can try and get a slipstream from in behind us here to make our way down the back straight. We're 3/10 down now to try and make our way through there, but you just see Villeneuve will try and fly back past us. We will get a temporary slipstream off of him. Try and get back around the outside, and this is getting really messy towards the end of qualifying. We've got one more chance here, one more opportunity for an improvement. I know we can make Q3, but I'm just worried it's not going to happen at the moment. Will we improve? Only half a second away, despite all of the chaos. Well, Sector 1 definitely not as good as it was last time round, but we're still looking pretty good through this middle sector of the lap. Felipe Massa now. Sorry, no, it's not. It's Michael Schumacher. Trying to see that at the corner of my eye can occasionally be a little bit of a challenge, but we'll get a much better run this time round out onto the back straight there. No Jacques Villeneuve to deal with, but there is a Nick Heidfeld just in front of me who was also trying to improve. But look at that, 7/10 up by the end of the middle sector. This is exactly what we need late on in the session.
Jarno Trulli, Juan Pablo Montoya, Kimi Räikkönen, Ralf Schumacher, Nick Heidfeld are all out on the circuit.
Yep, everybody out on their final run then. Oh, that was so much curb through that final corner, but hopefully this is going to be enough to put us through in safety. Yes, it is. P10. We may as well watch the clock run down now just to make sure no one else can go quicker than us. But are we about to scrape into Q3? I think we are. There we go. Fantastic news. You can still see another 2/10 up to Montoya and Räikkönen. So anything better than 10th here, I'm going to be very happy with. Well, I'm going to make a huge gamble as we head out into Q3. I think we could... I mean, this game likes to screw me, doesn't it? Let's be real. I think we could see some changeable conditions in the Grand Prix tomorrow. So I've opted for 14 laps worth of fuel in the car, ready here for our final qualifying session. I'm just going to get one lap, get it on the board, and then we'll see what happens as we head into the race. Here we go then, one run and we're going to be done in Q3. And like I said, if we somehow go quicker than anybody, I will be a very happy man. Just trying to dance our way through those first couple of corners. I much prefer kind of the wide in and obviously tight exit through turn 1. Try and carry a bit more speed, despite the fact you make the distance a little bit longer. It really is a shame that there's no other corners like that in Formula 1. You know, Shanghai is one of the weirdly great Formula 1 circuits of kind of this early modern era. I mean, Hermann Tilke, he kind of knew what he was doing back in the late 90s and early 2000s. This place, obviously Sepang as well. Just a shame he let Hockenheim go. I mean, look on the minimap. That McLaren is taking so much time out of me. It's beyond a joke. down in towards the final couple of corners there. I mean, he must have genuinely gained close to a second. I reckon that's where we're losing all our time around this lap relative to the AI here, but it's felt like a pretty good lap, to be completely honest with you all. It's going to be a 1:38.0. Montoya immediately 1.8 seconds faster. Well, there we go. Juan Pablo Montoya, 2 pole positions in a row then. Michael Schumacher will join him on the front row. Fernando Alonso down in P5. He's going to need a bit of a miracle to keep his title hopes alive. But we did end up only quarter of a second away from Jenson Button. But please, please, let today be the day we finally score some points.
Hello and welcome to the Chinese Grand Prix, coming live from the spectacular Shanghai race circuit. The first Chinese Grand Prix took place in 2004. Although a relative newcomer to the F1 calendar, the Shanghai circuit, designed by the famed Hermann Tilke, is state-of-the-art. It's also the most expensive Formula One facility ever made, costing a staggering $240 million US. Pretty much perfect weather conditions for racing here today, so we should see some very competitive lap times during this race. It's pole for Juan Pablo Montoya. Second on the grid is Michael Schumacher. Felipe Massa is in third. Jarno Trulli lines up fourth. Fifth is Fernando Alonso. Sixth is Rubens Barrichello. Seventh spot on the grid for Kimi Raikkonen. Eighth is Fisichella.
But annoyingly then, as we were going around on the formation lap last time, we actually ended up, my PlayStation just completely crashed on me. Just froze up. I was a little bit scared that it was going to be a bit more kind of worst case scenario than it was. I've been able to switch it back on. We're going to immediately get back out there then. We've qualified again in P10 on exactly the same strategy as I was going to employ. But it has meant, yeah, the grid order is much, much different to what it looked like originally. Michael Schumacher now, I believe, is on pole ahead of Fernando Alonso. David Coulthard, he's been given a lifeline. Obviously, he went out in Q1 first time round, but now he's going to be starting the Grand Prix from P9. Weather seems to be exactly the same, though. So whether we'll see any rain or not is certainly a question that will kind of play on our mind throughout the entirety of this Grand Prix. But yeah, today the big goal is try and score some points. Hopefully we'll be quicker than the Red Bull. But yeah, you kind of look around the rest of this top 8. It's Ferraris, it's Renaults, it's McLarens. Ralf Schumacher's right behind us. Jenson Button is a little bit nested further down the order. I need to get some temperature in the tyres. Come on. I've got to have something in those fronts, please. We'll just absolutely try and cook it as we get towards the line. But let's do this thing, though. Chinese Grand Prix. Hopefully, we can try and get a big result there as the rest of the field lining up just behind us. Come on, we need to... I'm just going to wipe the sweat off my hands, ready for the start of this one. Come on.
It seems like an age for the drivers waiting for the lights to signal the start of the race. We are racing!
Again, getting off to a particularly good start there. There's a lot of cars on. Look at that, they're all in one line.
Alonso. There's nothing to separate them as they hurtle towards turn 1.
A little bit of contact there through the first corner as we just ran a bit wide on the cold tyres. I think we've screwed over one of those McLaren cars there, but trying to go wheel to wheel with Rubens Barrichello. Like I said in qualifying, I'm pretty certain the only place I really lose time around this lap is actually down the back straight there. As you can see, Jarno Trulli and Fernando Alonso. So Alonso's had a pretty terrible getaway. I'm guessing it must have been Fisichella that actually lined up in P2. So I'm just trying to slam the door on Barrichello up through this middle sector on lap 1. We are just getting dive bombed everywhere. These guys do not like being stuck behind one of the back market cars, but it's through that double left-hander where we're really, really good here. Schumacher, though, still leads the way. So Alonso again trying to look for a move past Jarno Trulli. Could we potentially try and hassle the Spaniard there, battling against his former teammate? Could I get a slipstream to make our way out to the back straight? That would be rather useful. But I think we're just going to wave goodbye as Alonso, with a huge amount of speed over even Jarno Trulli there. I mean, look at that. How am I meant to compete with that? inside this game. Utterly ridiculous. Luckily, the AI brake really early, it would appear. So we'll go straight back around the outside of Barrichello. Jarno Trulli again struggling down in towards that final corner there. Broke a little bit early, but we have just about survived lap 1. And we've even made up some places in the process. Will we be under pressure from Rubens into turn 1? Just going to defend the inside line. No, I'm not. Going to let him bite and try and get back around him. Come on, find the grip, find the grip.
Looks like this. Michael Schumacher leads. Fisichella is second. Massa is third. He's up from fourth. Montoya fourth. Alonso is fifth. Trulli sixth. That's a drop of 3 places. Barrichello is seventh. You're eighth.
I'm not 8th. I was never 8th. No idea what James Allen's talking about then. It gives you a good idea of just how aggressive we have to be. That switch through turn 2 to launch it to the inside of Barrichello was an absolute must. Oh, we got oil down. We got oil down somewhere. No idea if it's a car in front or a car behind that's breaking down. I think it's got to be a car behind then that's gone. I think, oh, that's Barrichello. So Barrichello, all the straight line speed in the world, but clearly not reliability in that engine. He is going to be our first casualty of the afternoon. And that gives us a bit of breathing room from Raikkonen. But we are really just trying to kind of focus on my own race here, not worrying about the AI around us all too much. I think Kimi Raikkonen now is about to blow past us down this back straight. Is the gap to Coulthard is staying quite level at the moment. There goes Kimi down the inside. We will immediately... honestly, what that was then was I was so worried about him brake checking me in towards those final few corners. But I just had to try and get away from him as best as I could. That might help Coulthard get a little bit closer though. The big one though I'm scared about is Jenson Button.
Schumacher leads. Fisichella is second. Massa is third. Fourth is Alonso. Montoya fifth. Trulli sixth. You're seventh. And Raikkonen is eighth.
Again trying to defend from Kimi through turn 1 and turn 2. Again, just build up a little bit of breathing room. Problem is, all this squabbling is just allowing Jarno Trulli to pull away. Well, I apologise for how little I'm talking so far in this race, but I'm genuinely concentrating so much. I so badly want to get a good result here at the moment. So we got more oil down. Someone else seems to be going at the Grand Prix. I don't know if that's a car behind. I think it must be. Nope, there's the oil. Who's gone out of the race then? Oh, it's a... Is it? No, I don't know. I think it's a Red Bull? I got no idea, but either way, it's not a car in front of us. Oh, no, Raikkonen. How on earth did he sneak through there as well, then? That was completely by surprise. And annoyingly, yeah, these are the couple of corners where I often pull away from the AI. Will we be able to get back past Kimi yet again, then? You can see how slow they are through those couple of corners. Could we have a look to the inside of him? Yes, yes, we will. So we'll try and force our way back through. A little bit of wheel banging between myself and the McLaren man. Can we just get in front of him though? Yes, we can. But again, we just can't quite get the drive off of the corner. So we are going to have to try and defend down this back straight there. Try and hold him up as best as we can. A little bit of movement, a little bit of potential race manipulation here. There's Jenson Button now potentially trying to have a look for something. But again, we will hang on ahead of Kimi. And come on, if we can leave him and Jenson fighting, that would be fantastic news there. Fisichella and I believe Felipe Massa into... Oh, sorry, no, it's Michael Schumacher into the pits. We're going to gain a couple of spots for free. But unless we hear from Martin Brundle pretty soon that we are meant to be expecting rain, I don't think it's going to be worth trying to stretch this strategy as far as I'd originally intended to. Tyre wear now is not looking particularly fantastic either. And of course, they're just worried about the likes of Jenson Button maybe getting an undercut on us as well at this stage of the Grand Prix. Looks like he has come out in a bit of traffic behind one of the Super Aguris. They got Raikkonen diving into the pit lane then, so we're going to request our team, as they have told us, yep, that we can box this lap then, so we're basically going to be diving in at half distance. But I mean, yeah, these tyres look wrecked. No idea how long Massa and Alonso are planning on staying out here, but Juan Pablo Montoya has decided to peel into the pit lane. Where is... Oh, Raikkonen's also being held up by that Super Aguri. So this might work out fantastically for us then, because we will hopefully have quite a quick stop as well here. But that Super Aguri is doing us wonders then in this GP at the moment. Don't do a Lewis Hamilton.
Third is Juan Pablo Montoya. You're in fourth. Heidfeld is in fifth. Michael Schumacher 6th, Fisichella 7th, and Christian Klien is in 8th.
I'm genuinely so nervous in this Grand Prix, I can't even begin to describe it to you guys, but hopefully we can have a nice clean pit stop here. Obviously won't need much fuel going into the car. Come on, come on. 8.2 is pretty good going on this game. Anything under 8 is pretty much a miracle here. So hopefully, yes, look at that, we've got the jump. Button, I think, now has got ahead of Sato. But we have come out comfortably ahead of the BAR man, and Sato, he might just be about to become my best friend inside this game. We've got to try and push, though. We've got a couple of seconds of leeway to Jensen. 8 laps remaining. Well, things might be about to get just one little step better for us. Nick Heifeld as well. And forgot he was meant to be pitting still in this GP. Can we get the jump then on the BMW man? Yes, we will. So up then into P7 of the GP again, so we can even afford to lose the place to Jensen, and we'd still be in the points. Well, I'm genuinely just trying to count down the laps late on in this race. It doesn't look like Button has really got any more pace over us right now. We seem to be able to hold him back somewhere between half a second and a second and a half. I was actually looking at Jarno Trulli. We're going quicker than him over the last couple here. I don't think it's going to be quicker by enough. But, I mean, if we could score 3 points, that would work wonders against Super Aguri in the Constructors. But I think that's unlikely unless someone breaks down. Well, just a lap and a half to go then of this Grand Prix. And at the moment, the gap to Jarno Trulli has actually now come down to about 5 seconds here. So, had just a couple of little bits and pieces maybe gone our way, maybe we could be challenging him, but ultimately, if we can score a point here, I will be a very, very happy man. David Coulthard and Kimi Räikkönen starting just to chase us down as well.
Race leader, Michael Schumacher. It's been a very dominant performance all round from Ferrari. Everyone involved with the team must be ecstatic that they're running 1 and 2.
Well, Ferrari on for a big, big result here, and with doing so, Michael Schumacher puts one hand on the World Championship trophy. 20 points still available after this weekend. If I'm not mistaken, his gap at the top is going to be 16 points as we head to Suzuka next weekend. But 1 lap to go here from Shanghai. And I remember the first time I played this game, we did a whole season with Midland. We did, I think, score a couple of points by the end of it. But then we went to Super Aguri back in Bahrain and immediately won the first race of the year. So I'm hoping today, with this result, we're going to be paying kind of Midland back for all the struggles, all the heartbreak. Super Aguri, obviously, they've already scored points this season, so we don't have to worry too much about them. But really, this last lap is about trying to make sure I don't do anything stupid. I don't know how many races we've done so far in this series, but it's got to be around about 20 or so here. And this game is so brutal and so unforgiving that genuinely on this last lap, my heart is, I can feel it pounding out of my chest here. But Michael Schumacher, as he has done so many times before, through the final corner, he is going to win the Chinese Grand Prix, just like he did in real life.
Schumacher powers across the line to take top spot on the podium. Massa will hang on to finish in second.
Ferrari there, another dream result this weekend. Both Renaults will follow them home in P3 and P4 there, but I've just got to be careful through that final corner that I don't do anything stupid here. I really thought it was going to happen much, much sooner than today, but I am happy that finally, as we make our way through the final corner, points are going to be ours, and even better than that, it's 2 of them, so we're back ahead of Villeneuve in the championship.
What a race, wonderful stuff. Shanghai has provided yet another fabulous Grand Prix for us to absorb. This track seems to get better year after year, and thankfully there were no dislodged drain covers to contend with. Overall, I think the Chinese race organisers can be very proud of the show they put on there, so well done to them. Next, it's over to Japan in 7 days' time for the penultimate round of the 2006 season. As always, it should be a huge technical effort to get these cars tuned just right for those sweeping S's and the wonderful spoon curve, as well as keeping it on the track for the 290 km/h 130R. I can't wait. See you next week. Thank you and goodbye.
Well, there we go then. Just Scott Speed, Yuji Ide and Rubens Barrichello failed to see the checkered flag, but I've got to give a bit of a shout out there to Takuma Sato as well, carrying us along, holding up some of those other cars for a few laps. That genuinely might have made the difference by the end of the race there. Schumacher, though, a 17-point lead with just 20 still up for grabs. It might well be that Massa actually jumps Alonso by the end of the season as well. All he needs is a 6th place finish next weekend out at Suzuka there. Takuma Sato still in 16th overall, but we are up in a 17th place in the Drivers' World Championship. Constructors-wise, Ferrari, I think they have wrapped up that one mathematically this weekend. Renault even could tie with them by the end of the year. But yeah, I don't think they can jump them anymore. We are still last over on the Constructors, which is a little bit of a shame. Like I said, Japan next weekend will be brutal. Thank you all so much for watching, though, and we'll be back ready at Suzuka.